This guy recreated his childhood home where he went all over the country to find the exact wallpaper, the exact refrigerator, the exact, to recreate his childhood home that you would walk through, his living room.
Wow.
Yeah. All for the art itself, right? Like none of these artists were like, oh, this is going to be sold, right? Like it was just like, I am consumed with the
concept that I could turn marble
the journey,
into a hefty
right?
bag, right?
Yeah, it was just all about the journey, And like at the time, I was pursuing my acting career like really hard, and it like blew my mind because I was always end result driven. I was all like, oh, I need to get here. I need to get celebrity. I need blah, 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 blah. Instead of, am I enjoying the journey? Like, am I like really going deep into like the acting and what methodology and craft and all of that? And so after that, I really started going into the craft and digging deep into like the journey of it.
Welcome to Above the Legal Limit. I'm your host, Justin Chopin, business owner, lawyer, dad, world's best husband, traveler, and adventure seeker. On this podcast, we mix business with pleasure. We'll dive into growth strategies, entrepreneurial adventures, the business of law, and prove that business isn't boring. So let's get ready because we are going above the legal limit.
Welcome to Above the Legal Limit. I've got fun guest here today, Armando Leduc with Leduc Entertainment. And if you might have noticed, we're not in a very sterile white conference room. We're somewhere else. We're somewhere pretty damn cool, actually. And we're at a new restaurant pub in New Orleans called The Bell. So if you're hearing a lot of like clack, 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 that's because it's a real business, and if someone walks by with like a platter, they won't. I wish they would. I kind of hinted, that's all right. But if you see anything or hear anything, just whatever, you're fine. Just keep listening. Don't worry about that. That's just the inner workings of a restaurant. So Armando, first time on the show, long time listener, first time guest. Armando, full disclosure, is who produces our podcast.
That's correct.
So, hey, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate the invite.
Finally. So look, we've been working together for what?
Over a year.
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
About a year and a half. So if you are watching my podcast and you're like, hey, look at that. That looks great. This is one of the many, but certainly the man behind the curtain and the
masterminds. Yes.
So
the Wizard of Oz.
How did you get into podcasting?
By accident. I always tell the story. A friend of mine during COVID, who had a personal injury firm in Atlanta. I got him on a Zoom call and I was like, you know what? I just want to ask you questions about how you became successful. And he started sharing the story. 3 months later, he calls me up and is like, hey, I want you to shoot some content for me. I'm starting a company called 8-Figure Firm. And then like, I just get introduced to this whole legal side of things and was like, the podcast just kind of happened organically because he was like, Armando, you have a production company, but you're not putting out any content. Don't you think that's a problem? And I was like, yeah. So I put this podcast together, Spaghetti on the Wall. And it just kind of took off. It just, sort of like yours, right? You start a podcast and you don't really know how it's going to go, right? You have an idea of where you want it to go, but it sort of kind of creates its own path, right? And its own listenership and its own identity.
We have none of those things with listeners or identity, but that's all right. You do.
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. It's a very good. I love the podcast. I listen to it. And you're a good podcast host. You're very funny. So
appreciate
we're
that.
Just like, yeah.
My mom thinks that she watches the podcast. She was like, oh, I've seen every one of your episodes. I was like, Mother, no, you have not. She's like, the one with you. I was like, that's not the podcast. That's just me sitting there talking about stuff. The podcast is its own thing. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, that I believe.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know the podcast.
Well, look, I was in a seminar and it was all about law firm marketing. Somebody said to me, every person in this room should have a podcast. And I was like, all right, guess I got to go get a podcast. I've never listened to a podcast. I've never shot a podcast. I don't know anything about a podcast. And then shortly thereafter, I get like a spam email from you. I'm kidding. But we get an email from Spaghetti on the Wall. And I was like, oh, there's a podcast.
Yeah.
I should go check out this podcast since I've just been told that I need to be on a podcast. So that's actually kind of how this arrangement came to be. So I was on your podcast.
Yeah.
That was my first time being with a mic or like on camera.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that because you're so natural, and I'm not blowing smoke, right?
I just lawyers are just kind of full of shit.
No,
so
but I'm just
kinda
attorneys
like,
don't really. Not a lot of people have the gift to like be on camera and just be natural, right? And the gift of gab, and you just have this like stand-up comic way about you that just like improvised, things
I do
that
have like a little sharp kind of
the zingers come in, and you're all like, this is amazing. Right.
I was on someone's podcast and he was like, I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then he like has like a sheet of paper and he's like,
did he do that?
I was like, fuck, are you serious?
Yeah.
I was like, well, at least put the paper on the table. You can't hold it up. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, all right, well, why don't you read me your next question? It's always amazing to me because I don't know. Where I went to law school, we're always very focused on like advocacy at the trial level, at the appellate level. And so everybody who graduates Loyola has to like go through sort of this process of being on the spot. And so I'm always amazed when I like run into a lawyer who's going to like read me the question. And it's not like it wasn't like a real hard hitting question. It was like, how did you get into the practice? I went to law school like you. So I don't know.
Did you go to Loyola? Is that where you went?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to Loyola. My whole family went to Loyola, incidentally. It didn't, I don't know. We're not very imaginative. And so my wife went to Loyola. I tried getting her to go to LSU and she thought I was trying to break up with her.
Is that where you guys met?
No, but I was an established lawyer when we met and she was a school teacher. She was teaching French in New Orleans public schools. And one day she came home. She's like, this kid cursed me out and threw a garbage can at me. And I was like, man, you should just go to law school. That's like basically my day, but I got paid a whole lot more for it. And we kind of, it's like the running joke. And so she's like, and so she didn't blow me off. She was like, actually, I kind of always wanted to go to law school. And so what I always say, the joke is that once she saw it, like if I could do it, how easy it must be. So she did it. Right. So now she gets garbage cans thrown at her head and cursed out, but
she gets paid more money.
She get paid more for it. So
100%.
Yeah. But
where did you guys meet?
We met in New Orleans through some mutual friends. So she's younger than I am. I was practicing law. She was teaching with some people, who, and there's like that sort of New Orleans connection. And so, we, having a drink at the Del Chase on St. Charles Avenue.
That's
used
fun.
to be our spot when we were kids. Now we don't have a spot. Back then we would have a spot.
Now it's the kitchen.
Now our spots, like we have this little, our spot is we've got right where the espresso machine is in our kitchen. It's like behind this thing. So like get away from our kids. So it's like daddy's like little secret spot. So if you're ever like, where the hell is he? Like I'm hiding, I'm hiding by the espresso machine. I'm just sitting there, just caffeinating until it all goes away.
Do you have a man cave?
I don't have a man cave, but I definitely have daddy's playroom that everyone knows they're not allowed in. And I mean, my wife's allowed in there, of course, but the kids are not allowed in, and it's a wine. So I have a wine room. And so where I get to like collect and play with wines and do all that kind of stuff. So daddy's playroom is off limits. So, and we built this house and that was sort of the cornerstone or like the first piece. We're like, we want a wine room. I'm not going to call it a cellar because we're in New Orleans. Right. And then sort of the house sort of took shape around that. So that is daddy's place. That is my zen.
How important is it to have that?
It is huge. And when we unveiled our plans, of course, the negativity roll, everyone's like, that's stupid. You're like, why would you do that? And because what we do is we have the kitchen and then we have this room off the kitchen, which we call the parlor, and with like swivel chairs. So it's like, if you're in the kitchen, it's almost like there's a show. And then the wine room's off of that. And everyone, like nobody understood it. Everybody thought it was so stupid. And we love it. And so that's, if you could build a house, I suppose everyone's like, oh, how was it? And I was like, really a pain in the ass, but what's great about it, I'll get up in the morning, I'll make my espresso, I'll go into the parlor and I'll drink my espresso and I'm just at peace. Right. And in the evenings, I'll make a cocktail and I'll go sit in the parlor and what's not there? The television, right? The TV is many steps away. I don't even have to necessarily hear it. And that's why I hate like the drone of the television. And so we created the space for ourselves.
Yeah.
Just like coffee and alcohol and music. And that's like my three, like, what do you love? And like, well, I love coffee and alcohol and music. And so that's what's in the daddy's playroom.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get to watch as much TV these days, and I used to watch it a lot.
We don't watch TV. I
Yeah.
really don't. And it sucks because we're on TV. And so I'm like, I never see my commercial.
Oh, I see you all the time.
I never see it. And I even stayed up one night because I was like, I want to see the commercial. I want to know which version, like what's currently being aired. I don't even know. And I stayed up and it never came on. And so I was like, what the hell? Like, where's my commercial? And they're like, oh my gosh, we'll get right back to you. I think I fell asleep. I think I fell asleep and it aired. And I woke up and I was like, it never aired. I'm going to bed. I'm out of here. So I still never see the commercial. So,
Yeah.
but you get to see it.
Oh, I see your stuff all the time, man.
Do you see like the broadcast one,
I
or
see
you
the
see the one we're
broadcast.
serving you online? You know?
Yeah, so if I'm watching Hulu and I'll have something on in the background, and the commercials play, then I don't know how you're getting it on there.
I don't know.
Is that local channels?
Is it me? Like, is it just me on a stool?
Yeah, it's you in
and
you in the warehouse.
So that's me.
Yeah.
Broadcasting. That's from the Contemporary Art Museum.
Yeah.
I
really
wanted
cool.
like a cool like warehouse, like a very not too much going on, like right, like
Yeah.
we didn't want to make it flashy, right? But
Looks powerful.
So let's talk about what you've got going on, because you've got a lot of things going on. One, every time I see you, you're somewhere else.
Yeah, we travel a lot. Just like you, masterminds are important. So we're in several like marketing masterminds where I'm like the dumbest person in the room, which
Sure.
I love. Flight Club, Flow, 7-figure agency, 8-figure firm. So we get to meet with a lot of heavy hitting people, and I've got a project that I just finished called Life on Bourbon, and that's the TV show that I wrote based on my life working on Bourbon Street for all those years as an MC and a lead singer in the band, and then me as an agency owner now. So I kind of put those two worlds together where I'm like an agency owner, but I also own a bar on Bourbon.
Okay.
And so these two worlds collide on the regular.
Very cool.
And so there's a lot of content, right?
Okay.
A lot of stories.
Right.
And so we finished this pilot, and 15 years in the making, about to screen it on the 30th. And then I'm going to go pitch it at the American Film Market in November. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Great thing is I'm not going there desperate.
Right.
Because I'm going to release
this
it.
other thing that you're already doing.
Correct.
That's awesome.
And I think
Right.
a lot of filmmakers, they, when they go to these things, like make or break, right? It's like, if I don't get picked up here, then my life is over. And I'm like, I'm going to release it anyway, right?
Plus,
With or
I always
without
see
you.
these things where like pilots get picked up and then they never take off, or like,
Yeah.
or they shoot a pilot and then they table it and then they come back, or they shelve it, whatever they want to call it. Then they come back to it, right?
Yeah. There's no rhyme or reason. I mean, I wish, if anybody could really dictate and predict what was going to hit and what's not, I mean, they'd be trillionaires, right? I mean, Hollywood is
Right.
regularly doing that. The thing about Hollywood and these production companies is that they have a slew of movies, right?
Yeah.
And so they put out 15, 20 movies a year, and they know that law of averages, hopefully though one of those are going to hit, and that's what carries a production company, right?
Right.
If you're
Makes
putting all
sense.
of your eggs in one basket, that's a little
Doesn't hit.
that's a
You
little
just like
harder.
your Waterworld, right? And then
right.
nobody liked it because it was weird.
Yeah. I didn't find it to be the worst movie.
I just was disappointed that it was the most expensive movie.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we saw it and I was like, sure, most expensive movie ever, Waterworld. Let's do it. Let's go see it. And I
Is that
remember,
really the most expensive?
At the time? Yeah. It was crazy expensive. And it just wasn't all that good. It was like weird.
Yeah.
It was just weird. So is the idea Life on Bourbon that it's going to be a series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the pilot working. I've outlined the entire series.
Okay.
Like the first season at least.
Okay.
And then so I'm working on like episodes 2 and 3 right now. And we've got, now that we have a product, I think it's going to be a lot easier for people to like hop on board with it
Right.
and
Set,
visualize
like,
it.
storyboard.
Because
You
I
can
think
actually kind of see it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the filmmakers, when they're like trying to raise funds for a project that's an idea, and it's like, number one, are you going to finish it? Number two, who's involved? What is it going to look like? There's so many more questions than answers. But when I'm like, this is the pilot, this is what it looks like, this is, and we did this for $30,000, you know what I mean? So like, it's a lot easier for somebody to go, yeah,
okay.
I can back that.
So is the thought that you would be in in the show, or
Oh, I'm in the show. Yeah.
I know you're in the pilot of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this kind of stuff. Like when you go
Yeah.
sell, like you go like say, hey, I got this pilot. I think y'all should pick it up. Is it like, and I will be starring as Armando, or they're like, tonight the part of Armando will be played by, The Rock.
Sure. They can take it. And it all depends on the deal, right? I'm not willing to, unless they offer me a lot of money, I'm not willing to let it go, because right now it's just, for me, it's a fun project, right?
Sure.
It's a passion project that I've been sitting on for 15 years. I'm playing the lead in it. It's just, it's one of these projects like Adam Sandler does, where he he stars, he writes, he directs, so for me, it's just a project that I love pouring myself into. I don't really care if people like it.
Sure.
I know people will. There's
I
enough
think
of an
that's
audience
where the
out there
art
that
comes in. Like an artist doesn't paint a painting or sculpt a sculpture because he wants others to like it.
right.
When you create, you're creating something from within.
Yeah.
And we all, as humans, want people to like whatever it is. We're just wired that way.
Sure.
It's like we're, survival. That is our manner of survival, right? To be accepted by the community. Prehistorically, if you were not accepted by the community, your chances of survival were very low, right? So we're innately needed. But the artist creates not for that purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, people like it. That's great. And if they don't, you finally got to see the vision of this idea. And my law firm's a lot like that in some ways, except if people don't like it, then I'm like shit out of luck. I don't have like a side project. It just kind of has to be this. But still, like, to be able to like have this idea and to watch it kind of take shape.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways is rewarding in and of itself.
It really was. NOMA in 2012 brought an art exhibit called Lifelike. I don't know if you got to see it.
I did not.
It was phenomenal. So the psychology of all of the movement, I guess, of all of these artists, right, was that they were all into recreating everyday objects. Like, for instance, there was a guy who made a plastic, a hefty garbage bag, right?
Okay.
Just full, right? But it was made out of marble. Like, and
Oh,
you would
cool.
look at it and you could not distinguish that it wasn't, a plastic bag. And
Basically, what you mean is it cake?
right. Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but these guys, like, they spent hours upon hours upon hours like, this guy recreated his childhood home, where he went all over the country to find the exact wallpaper, the exact refrigerator, the exact, to recreate his childhood home that you would walk through, his living room.
Wow.
Yeah. All for the art itself, right? Like, none of these artists were like, oh, this is going to be sold, right? Like, it was just like,
right.
I am consumed with
That's the concept that I could turn marble into
journey,
a hefty
right.
bag. Right.
Yeah, it was just all about the journey. And like, at the time, I was pursuing my acting career like really hard, and it like blew my mind because I was always end result driven. I was like, oh, I need to get here. I need to get celebrity. I need blah, 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 blah. Instead of, am I enjoying the journey? Like, am I like really going deep into like the acting and what methodology and craft and all of that? And so after that, I really started going into the craft and digging deep into like the journey of it. Right. Which has been just amazing. Right. Cause like now, and look, we're all want the thing, right? Like, we all want the result, but nowadays I'm not necessarily too concerned with it. My business is thriving. I'm doing well. But it's good to have this project now where I can just kind of pour into it without the expectation of, oh my God, it has to work.
Yeah. So in a lot of ways, that's like the best way to do it, because
Yeah.
you really don't have anything to lose, right? Except time. But
Right.
you got to do something that you love. So the time was well spent.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I know you're showing it on Tuesday.
Correct.
Maybe I can get Helena to go. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. Like, she'll go to stuff. These kids are always going to stuff.
They should.
you know?
They should come.
They're
Right.
always like, I'll be like, hey, we have these tickets, because we sponsored this thing, and they're all like, yeah, I'd love to go. I'm like, all right, great. Like, I don't know, I think I'm just getting old. So people were like, do you want to? I had these tickets. I'm like, oh God, no. Oh no, and then I got to think of a reason. I'm like, I don't know, I have to have a colonoscopy the next day, right? Like I'll come, but I need to be near the bathroom. No, so but it's
You know, walking distance. And by the aisle.
Yeah,
don't put me in the
aisle
middle.
seat, please, and a plastic bag. So my kids are obsessed with Is It Cake. And so we don't watch a ton of TV, but when we do, that's what we're watching. And they're like jumping up and down. And they're calling it out. And they're like, it's two. Do you ever watch this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think
I'm mind blown. I'm like, how? What was it? Somebody was like, maybe it was Lizzo or somebody, a singer, a celebrity was like on a talk show and she was sitting on cake and she was like,
oh yeah, you're right.
It's like, is this cake?
I did see that.
Yes,
Is it
amazing?
Cake? So my wife's a big baker, recreationally. And the big deal is for your birthday, not necessarily my birthday, but for the kids' birthdays, they get to pick out like their cake. Like they get to design it. They get to, and whereas I'm like hard to like, I will say no. Like if you're my kid, like you could ask me for anything and my answer is no. You can be like, can I have a glass of water? I'm like, absolutely not. I don't even know why. I just, whatever it is, the answer is no. It's like, Dad, I'm tired. Can I go to sleep? I'm like, well, okay, no, I'll say yes.
Please
But she'll say yes, and she'll just say yes, and it's so nice, and you watch them and just destroy the house, and and they design it, and then she'll research how to do it. I mean, it's always fun. And then they're watching Is It Cake, and then they're like, what if? And then my kids are coming up with these ideas. I'm like, please don't do that. You guys are going to burn the house down. That is a horrible idea. But it's always kind of fun. And then there's like the slight disappointment in the kids' eyes. We're like, it doesn't look like that.
Right.
I think, what is it? There's like, I don't know what this is from. Maybe it's a running joke of it might be from Peppa Pig where they make like a popcorn duck cake or something like that. No one knows what I'm talking about. That's all right. No one's watching.
Peppa, they might know here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an
But
English place.
It was just really funny, and they did it, and they did the cake of like popcorn for the hair and like chips for the mouth, and it was like it's funny. It's so Is It Cake? Big for us. I wish I had seen that exhibit because I would have taken my kids to see that. They would have gone nuts.
Yeah, they would have. I mean, they
should do an Is It Cake exhibit.
They should. They absolutely should. Noma would make money off of that. They should bring more fun stuff over there.
Well, do they still have the bacon up front?
Yeah, they do.
I really want them to get rid of the bacon.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're New Orleans Museum of Art, like the bacon was like really big 20 years ago. I'm over the bacon. Like everybody went through in those days, like everyone, we had like bacon flavored everything. Bacon
it's
soap. True. We have a bacon ornament for our tree that we
do
got. Yeah, from that era where bacon was big. Like bacon's out now. I don't know what's in now, but do something else like edamame. What's that? Pumpkin.
Pumpkins?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's just seasonal.
Pumpkin. So
it's definitely seasonal.
It's when this airs, will be like October, but right now it is like balmy September, and my kids are begging for pumpkins, and I keep telling them, I was like, there's just no way that we could put a pumpkin out right now. I was like, guys, it would just disintegrate in a matter of moments.
100%. And
they're hell bent on it, but I'm
unless it's made of cake.
Unless it's made of cake, and then we really don't want it out. So do you have clients that you produce their podcast and shorts, or do you have more, you all do videos and not the podcast? Like, how does that work out?
So we, based on what these attorneys need, and we've been working with attorneys now.
I was going to say, are you niching down? So you're just working with lawyers right now?
I mean, we've got a few clients that we help still, but that's because they've been our clients. We're definitely niching down to attorneys because we just kind of understand the space and it's more fun. So yeah, we do everything from client journey videos to
which you did for us.
Yeah.
Which we, look, every week I pull up my Vimeo and I see like what videos are they watching? They always watch the same ones. It's the settlement one. I guess maybe that's a good thing. And then there's like a commercial. They always watch that one. So
yeah,
I don't know if that means we're settling cases or I don't know. I still am not 100% sure how they're being delivered.
Well, Hona's delivering them, right?
We use Hona for the delivery.
Okay.
That was a long process. I owe Helena, a debt of gratitude. She is our marketing coordinator, and that was a big undertaking that she really did on her own. Like, I mean, I would help out and like with the FAQs, I would come up with them. Then after I spent like an entire day doing FAQs, somebody's like, why didn't you use ChatGPT? I was like, because I didn't fucking think of it. Thank you, Diane.
Well, I got a question for you. So why, you've been doing videos, you've been doing this podcast,
Yeah.
right? Why do you like it? Why do you continue doing it?
Yeah.
What does it feel for you?
Sure. I love it. I love being able to meet other people. There's no, like, the secret behind the sauce is I don't do this, but maybe if the listeners don't know, I don't do it every day, right? It's one day a month. We knock them all out. I like that we can be a little creative and try some things. Like, some things work, and then some things that you think are really cool, like what people just don't care about. And it's always like, oh, all right, I liked that one. I thought it was funny, but they really, don't like that. Right? Don't tell people in Colorado they don't have billboards. So, right. So I like being able to do that. I like being able to have other, business owners and law firm owners, and lawyers on the show that can kind of, or podcast, you call it. Is it a show? A podcast?
Yeah, it's a podcast. It's a show.
Podcast, whatever. I'm new. But I think it's good, and I think it's good to have the content. And so what's interesting is, I'm not always in my own marketing funnel, thank God. But others are, and so they're like, oh my God, I see you everywhere, and so that's always good to hear. And I don't know what it means. I don't know if they're talking about this, if they're getting served, on Insta, they're like TikTok or the bus or whatever. But it's just one more sort of arrow in your quiver that can deliver content. And generally speaking, people all like it. People will tell you when they don't like stuff,
right?
But people don't, they all say that they like the podcast and the short videos. My dad went to a coffee shop a couple of weeks ago, and he's wearing the law firm t-shirt. So the guy behind the counter is like, you know that guy? And Dad's like, yeah, I do. He's like, I work there. He goes, oh, I love his commercial. And Dad's like, oh, well, thanks. He's like, beard is awful. You got to tell him to shave it off. You just get rid of it. It looks like trash. And Dad's like, well, all right, well, he's my son. I was like, he's like, I'll mention it to him. I think he's pretty committed to the beard. But I appreciate the feedback. So, like, people have no problems being like, oh, we've heard from others, who are like, hey, your commercial is very boring. And I'm like, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Like, you should do something flashier. And I was like, well, right, yeah, no. So the commercial was supposed to not be flashy. Like, right. It was intentional. They're like, I don't understand. Or I was talking, a judge was like, why are you just like in front of a brick wall? And I was like, well, I was trying to find like a warehouse that was kind of like a, modern kind of underground. I had a vision for it. He's like, it's weird. I'm like, thank you.
It's weird.
Thank you.
Continue on.
Thank you, sir. So people have no qualms with sharing their opinions with you, especially the negative ones. Yeah. But generally speaking, everyone has a very positive opinion on the videos on our social, which are cut from this right here.
Yeah. Well, and that's is a good question, because like I think a lot of attorneys that haven't done this or are kind of afraid to put themselves out there,
oh, for sure,
are getting,
I mean, look, if you want to get anywhere in life, you're going to have to put yourself out there. And it doesn't matter what that is. If you want to run marathons, the only way to run a marathon is to start running, right? If you want to be a business owner, well, you're going to have to make yourself a business owner. If you want to have a social media presence, well, you're just going to have to be on social. It's like me with lotteries. Like, so I really want to win the lottery. Do you know why I don't win the lottery?
Because you don't play.
I never buy the ticket. And then I drive by the billboard where the Powerball was like 1.7 billion. And I've already accounted for it. I was like, we're going to start a foundation after I buy my house in Colorado, right? And I'm like, and we'll have to do a trust, and we probably need to do like a family trust, like a living trust, and that'll feed in. I'm already like trying to evade taxes, and and then I drive by and it says $0. I'm like, son of a bitch, I didn't win the lottery. And then I remembered, wait, you didn't buy a lottery ticket. That's why you didn't win, silly. So putting yourself out there is always really hard. When I started the social content, I got a lot of negative pushback.
Really?
Yeah. People were like, you're going to be like one of those guys. It's embarrassing, right? Like you're talking to like one of your kids, or like, oh, that's embarrassing. I was like, well, it's not going to be embarrassing. And they were like, what? I mean, of course it will be. And I was like, well, it won't be embarrassing if I'm not saying embarrassing things. Can we accept that statement is true? So it won't be embarrassing if I'm not being embarrassing. And they're like, I cannot accept that statement. So I was like, all right. So we definitely got sideways.
Internally from like,
Yeah, internally there was some pressure that they thought, because there are so many people on social media. And look, even in the last year, it's like, I mean, it's grown exponentially. There's so many of these guys out there and their content does suck and it is embarrassing. Right?
Right.
So when what was it, like Law Hawk, right? When he came out and he did those commercials and it was on YouTube.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed at this guy, and we remember we shared, it was really before it took off on social media. It was really, I guess, YouTube that we were all watching this stuff. That guy was a genius. It was a marketing genius, and he didn't care that the other lawyers thought he was a joke because his phone's ringing off the hook. I don't know what ended up happening to him. I don't, no one talks about Law Hawk anymore, but
Right.
his commercials were hilarious.
I remember.
So, when we started internally, the fear was that it was either going to be embarrassing or really not very helpful, which we see a lot of these guys or the lawyers, like, there's like two cars, right? And the lawyer's always like in front of like a white wall. And then he wants to talk about liability. He's like, well, this car is at fault because if you're going to be backing into a spot, you need to make sure that it's clear. Like anybody over the age of 16 doesn't know that car's at fucking fault, right? Like you don't need a lawyer to be like, well, I think you might be at fault because you T-boned that other car because you ran a red light, Your Honor. You don't need to be a lawyer for that. So I think the concern were sort of twofold. So I said, well, look, it's not like a Chopin law firm thing. It's like a Justin Chopin thing. So it's on the Justin Chopin account. So don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. And then we delivered a product that didn't freak people out, that was fairly benign. We don't even talk about law, right? And that seemed to be okay with everybody. So then everybody kind of like calmed down. But yeah, putting yourself out there is hard. Like nobody ever wants to put themselves out there. But if you're not going to put yourself out there, you're never going to succeed at whatever it is in life that you want to do.
Hallelujah.
And whether it's filming a pilot, right? Like no one's going to come to you. Paramount is not going to call you up and be like, hey, Armando, listen, you don't know me, but I'm Paramount and I'd like to do a pilot about something that's in your head right now. I was reading an article this morning about Steve Gutenberg because I'm that many years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love Steve Gutenberg. And this is a cool story. You may know it. I don't know. He basically broke into Paramount when he got to California. His parents said, look, you got 2 weeks to make it big or we're out. Like, it's impossible.
Wow.
So what he did was he noticed that all the corporate guys at Paramount like would just show up and they looked like businessy and they just like punched a card and then they waved at the security guard and they walked in. So he just mimicked what they did. And then he, to the point where then he got an office. He wired his own phones. And then and he just like scoped it out until he managed to parlay it into a commercial piece, where he was in a commercial. And it's like kind of trespassing, right? Slightly fraudulent, I suppose, but super cool. And that, it's the ultimate putting yourself out there, potentially in an illegal way. But hey, who doesn't love Steve Gutenberg, right? The ladies loved him. The guys all wanted to be him.
I bumped into him at the airport. Super nice guy.
Really? Yeah. I thought it was really funny during the wildfires. There's like this guy that they're interviewing who's moving cars. And then he's like, well, what's your name, sir? And they didn't even know who. He's like, well, I'm Steve Gutenberg. And I was like, man, imagine that. A world where Steve Gutenberg's got to introduce himself.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Times have changed.
So, well, cool, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Leduc Entertainment. If you were a competing lawyer out there and you want to do content better than I do, where can they find you?
LeducEntertainment.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
And obviously don't forget, so we're not in an office. We are at the Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're watching this, you're listening to this and you're thinking, it'd just be the best right now if I would be like a proper pint and a steak and Guinness pie. I would head over to the Bell on Esplanade in New Orleans. And check out their social media because there's a picture of the pie. Have you seen the pie?
No.
I'm going to show you a picture of the pie. This thing's ridiculous.
It's like a shepherd's pie with steak instead of ground beef.
So I wouldn't call it like a shepherd's pie. Like this is
And is that Irish or English?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Right, I don't want to offend.
You know, I don't want to offend anybody.
Definitely fish and chips, right? Oh, that's
Look
nice.
at that.
That's great.
Holy shit. Like I just want to eat that.
Same.
So that's their special tonight. So no one's going to see this for like a month. So maybe
But they could probably eat that
maybe
still.
that'll keep. Just put some saran wrap on that.
That's good.
So yeah, come check out the bell. But otherwise, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate you having me.
Cool.
Thank you for joining me today on Above the Legal Limit. If you enjoyed the show and you want to hear more about business and law, hit that subscribe button. If you didn't like the show, keep it to yourself. Remember, there's no limit to what we can achieve. We will see you next week. Until then, even though we're above the legal limit, let's drive safely. Cheers, everyone.